Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome all to our Shotsuki Sunday service this morning. For the beginning, I would like to share one of the texts in our denomination of Shinbuddhism. Actually, it's a hymn, which is called the Hymns of the Pure Land, and it was written by our founder Shinran Shoni, which states, "The Buddha's light cannot be fathomed. Thus, Amida is called Buddha of inconceivable light." And another hymn says, "Amida Buddha's virtue surpasses conception." And in the chanting of Shoshinge, it also says, "Take refuge in inconceivable light of Amida." So, many texts often uses the word inconceivable with regard to the Buddha, but I would like to discuss what do we mean by it. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, inconceivable is a thing or quality that cannot be conceived, or a thing or quality that cannot, something incapable of being represented by a mental image. So in Shinbuddhism, inconceivable is understood as something that go beyond our human comprehension. And it is when we encounter those amazing phenomena that go beyond our ability to understand that we experience the inconceivable. For example, there's the universal truth of Buddhism that we are all interconnected, and I only exist because of the interconnections. And without those interconnections, there's no self, there is no me. That is to say, what makes a river exist is like rain. But the rain falls everywhere. So that rain has to gather together in tiny little streams that becomes bigger creeks. And the creeks has to get together to form the tributaries of the river. And also, the river there has to be two banks that form, that give the river its form, and also many other things that add it to its character. So we can understand the concept of interconnection and how it forms, a river. But if one says that, then how many interconnections are they to form a river? Then it's almost impossible to know. We cannot know how many. It can be surprisingly overwhelming how many interconnections there are for a river to exist as a river. So it is not that we do not understand this one of the universal truth of interconnections, but what is impossible is to understand the total number of them that there are. So it is with the working of Amida Buddha, as the hymns of the Pure Land have taught us. The nature of Amida Buddha is impossible for us to establish with our limited abilities. And if we have that ability or the wisdom to establish the nature of Amida Buddha, then we don't need Amida Buddha, because we already have that wisdom to establish something conceivable. And indeed, we will not need Buddhism. And thinking about it in this way, the reason why Buddhism appeared is because we are imperfect and we have limitations. In this respect, Amida Buddha, whom we try so hard to understand, is actually showing us who we really are. The very attempt to determine, comprehend, or define the nature of Amida Buddha goes counter to the idea of the inconceivability of Amida Buddha. However, actually there was a person saying, still, I want to know. I want to define Amida Buddha. And Reverend Daiei Kaneko, one of the Japanese ministers, his idea was that the very fact that there are people who absolutely need the help of Amida Buddha is the best evidence that Amida Buddha exists. That said, he does not define the nature of Amida further. So to seek out the inconceivable is to seek out the many possibilities that we have not thought of. And conversely, to think that we can understand everything, or to rely on just what can be proven with evidence, is to lose these many possibilities. And for me, the inconceivability of Amida Buddha is the beauty of Shin Buddhism that makes our life even richer. Please join me in Basho. By reciting the Nembutsu Nammo Amida Butsu, we are reminded what makes our individual lives simple and meaningful, and we are also reminded the Dharma in times of need. Nammo Amida Butsu. Nammo Amida Butsu. Nammo Amida Butsu.